sir, for the Inner Circle Podcast Network's sports show. Cheers, sir. Uh,
Cheers.
if you're watching, what you'll notice is I'm not Mr. Randall T, or he's not Mr. Chris Wutsky, and there's definitely no Adam Simmons here or Bobby popping in. This is just me, Joe B from Any Podcast, and Mr. Uncle Randy
You're goddamn right.
from Married AF, taking over while the boys are getting a little rest. And we are going to talk some UFC, some MMA, talk about what we like to talk about,
Oh yeah.
not just fantasy football, not just what do they do? Curling. I think they like.
Baseball, for God's sakes. I was listening last week. I like their fantasy football stuff, but fucking God, I can't do baseball anymore. And I loved baseball.
Yeah. But it was so we are taking over just a little mini show for you, kickoff, just so you know you ain't missing nothing. Um, Fights past weekend. I'm just ready to dive right in. At least with this point. So fights last weekend, you had Colby Covington versus Robbie Lawler. Covington won, outclassed him. Is that how you'd phrase
Oh,
it?
for God's sakes, absolutely. And I picked this fight wrong. I told you I took Lawler. I just love Lawler. I went emotional with that pick, but I'll tell you, I'll never do it again. Colby Covington, for anyone that watched that fight, that was a no-hit shutout, to equate it to baseball for all the baseball listeners here. He won it clean on all the scorecards, threw over 520 significant strikes, UFC record in a fight, significant strikes. Landed 10 of his 18 takedowns. Took Robbie down 10 times. I mean, it was a fucking masterpiece. And to be a southpaw wrestler like Colby, like I went back and watched the the film or the video of the fight. Say the film, but whatever. And it's just fucking impressive. He's like a Nate Diaz, but that can wrestle. He doesn't have the jiu-jitsu because he uses that. Like, he'll take you down, right? And everybody was giving him shit about his garbage rear naked choke attempts. He doesn't try to submit you. He's doing that to get the ref to not stand it up and make you tired. He's putting garbage chokes and just kind of
Making you work.
neck. Exactly. Making you carry his weight.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone shut Robbie Lawler down like that. So I'm a believer. You may not like him. I may not like him as a pro. Well, actually, now I do. Now that I've seen this, it's fucking incredible.
It's funny because like there is that controversy around him, which I think obviously turns people off. I mean that and going against Lawler is definitely like, yep, it's Lawler, man. How you gonna go against Lawler? Seriously, like he's just his whole camp, his career. He's a pioneer. I said same with you, but I've been impressed with at least Covington's last couple fights where it's like he might do it. He might do it. But
I don't know if anybody can beat him now. He's 15-1. He's only got one loss, and he's won 7 in a row. You know what he is he's Chael Sonnen's protege. Like a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
He's in that cut. He's done a lot of studying with Chael, but he's a better striker. People don't give him enough credit. They think he's just a wrestler, but if you watch, he's got the most incredible chain wrestling I've ever seen. And for those who don't know what that is, it's like transitional wrestling. It's MMA wrestling. It's not just wrestling that you see in high school and college and the Olympics. It's real transitional, to be able to go from strikes to knees to elbows to a takedown. And what he does so well, he's a southpaw. So he'll do a jab. For people that do any boxing, that's your 1. Your straight is a 2. Then you got your hook, that's a 3, and you can come up with an uppercut, that's a 4. Kobe will throw a 1, 2, 3 takedown, but all 3 will land. And just kind of like what it had Robbie doing was Robbie'd be covering up, and then he's on the mat. He never even got to fire back. The pressure's incredible.
So with the welterweight division, does he get the title shot against Usman?
You got to. The post-fight was the best I've ever seen. They took Colby because Kamari was one of the commentators. And so they took him up to the table afterwards. And they had the best promo They were just both taking their shit off. Like, let's just do it now. Like, it was great. For me as a wrestling fan, I bought into it for the promo of it. But they really want to get after it, and Kobe knows how to press those buttons. And I just don't see how you can deny him. He was the interim champ. You stripped him because he had to have his nose fixed. You got to let him do it, especially with all this political fighting. And he's made it part of his shtick of him being a Trump supporter. It's just beautiful. Like, you can't ask for anything better. Plus, the motherfucker can go. His cardio is the best on planet Earth.
So what do you do with Masvidal then, after the fastest knockout in the world?
Honestly, I think the only way to, if you want to have George to do a title fight, you have him sit and fight the winner of Kobe and Usman, and you turn that around quick because Kobe didn't take any damage.
Just call Jorge George.
Yeah, that's what his friends call him George, and we're friends. Everyone else calls him Jorge, but they call him George. And so I think you have him sit if you want to save him. Because if you don't, if you just want to capitalize on his heat, I think you match him and Leon up and do the part 2 of the 3-piece, have them set to fight, and the winner of that fights the winner of Kobe and Usman, and Tyron Woodley just has to kick rocks because he never fights, and
he's an analyst now.
Robbie took, wasn't Robbie, who was Kamari, I think, took Tyron's soul in that fight where he beat Tyron.
I mean, dude, he beat him bad enough that his own Tyron's mom was like, "Don't you be sorry for none of that." Like, you know what I mean?
She was like high-fiving Usman. There it is, baby.
Like, damn, bro. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see Colby and Jorge go at it. Maybe that's how he gets his title shot.
What's interesting to me about this division, I want to ask you, is Ben Askren, right? So he got, of course, destroyed in 5 seconds by George, the best highlight knockout of all time. He's going to be fighting Maia, and I think he's going to take an L there. That's a very dangerous fight. And then Askren's 1 and 2 in the UFC, and a lot of people question that 1 against Robbie.
Yeah.
So that's a dangerous fight for him to fight Damian Maia. In my opinion, that motherfucker, you don't never want to fight him.
No, but his striking's improved too, so it's not just his ground game. But I would say Askren was, he took it.
Oh, he did. He took it like a champ, and after Robbie lost to
literally in
Kobe,
the face.
Ben Askren apologized to the whole world for losing on Twitter. He said, "I'm sorry that I lost to George because now you have to listen to Kobe," and he calls Kamari Usman Marty. He said, "You got to listen to those two talk shit, and it's going to be unbearable." So hopefully they turn that around and they fight quick, though.
Jim Miller over Clay Guida. I should have sent it to you. I would have picked Jim over that.
Yeah, I would have too. I thought it went about like I expected. With Jim, it's what's funny about him is that people don't know about is he's just now getting treated for his Lyme disease, like good treatment that's got it under control.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the last 3 years he's been fighting with Lyme disease that wasn't controlled. And he said after this fight, he's like, I finally got the shit under control with the right medicines.
Oh, dope.
And I feel dangerous again. So, Clay Guida's no easy bitch. He's a bad fucker.
Yeah, but Miller's got that ground game. That's where I think that's what separates him with Clay. If he was going to stand there and bang with Clay, like I could give that to Clay, but Miller's got that submission game, so it was almost like a no-brainer. He's just going to get him down, make quick work with him if he can. But I like Guida, dude. The Carpenter still bangs even. What is he, 100?
I love that monster, man. His fucking hair, and you just can't.
He's a beast. Him and Diego Sanchez, I wish could fight forever.
Yeah. Diego's borderline lost his shit, though. He's went off the cuckoo's nest with this last. Yeah. He fought Soul Camp. He left whatever their camp is down there. Fucking.
Who's that? Elko John, right?
Yeah, Winklejohn. And he had one guy in his corner for that Clay Guida fight, and it's some guru psychology guy.
Butt toucher.
Yeah, and he's talking about that he found the anti-aging truth and crystals and shit. I'm like, he's going through a divorce. He's hitting that middle-age crisis, man. I feel bad for him.
You gotta tell him, fucking eat big steaks, lift heavy weights. That's how you get it done.
And punch people in the face and let them cut your face off. I mean, Diego, he wins when his face is hanging off of his skull. That's when he wins. He needs somebody to cut him really bad and piss him off, because there's nobody scarier than a fucking Diego Sanchez biting down on his mouthpiece. That's a terrifying thing to look at.
Yeah, yeah. Frankie Edgar. Not he wasn't on this past one, or was he?
No, it was.
No, it was the one before, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that we didn't get to touch on during Married AF.
Mhm.
His loss. What do you? He's gonna drop down to 135 now. That's what he's thinking.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's what his coach wants him to do, and what every talking head wants him to do, because he's always been an undersized 145er, and he's been a champ at 155. People don't remember that.
Yeah.
He was 155 champ. He's been a 145 perennial number one contender, and he could make 135. So it's incredible. Who knows? I mean, I say go down. But part of Frankie's whole thing is he needs to be motivated as, I'm the smaller guy that nobody thinks can win. So I don't know. I'd be interested to see it. I don't think he's done at all. He's not getting outclassed. He just got beat up.
Yeah, because he's usually the smaller fighter.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to a show. They were saying that he actually has to work to get to the heavier weight. Like he has to actively gain, but he is closer to a 135 pounder walking around.
Yeah.
So
Did you see the size difference with him and Max Holloway?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, even him and what's the dude, Brian Ortiz or Ortega?
Ortega, yeah.
Dude, he's a giant for 145.
Yeah. Oh, he is. And Frankie Stone Cold had starched him. No, he starched Frankie.
Yeah.
Edgar, that L.
Edgar lost to him.
Finish him, yeah.
Like he looked like he was gonna give Holloway a run for his money until Holloway schooled the hell out of him. But
yeah, Max. The thing is with Max, he's so great. He's so long and rangy, and I don't know. I actually enjoyed that fight though, because they're both so classy. Sometimes I like the trash bullshit, the Kobe's, but I also like the Max Holloways. Max Holloway is as respectful as it'll get, but if you fuck with him, you're gonna get the truth, and you're gonna get the fucking 3 and 10 piece dropped right on you, because his fucking wines don't play.
But it'd be interesting to see Edgar there. I mean, but it's crazy to think of his fights with like Gray Maynard. Dude, where
legendary.
And that was at 155. So to have such a hard time at like 145 to now have to go down to 135.
See, but a lot of that I attribute to, and it makes us feel old, but the Frankie Edgars and shit are a generation removed. These younger guys, these Max Holloways that are the next generation after Frankie, are so much better because they've trained all aspects, right? Like when it was Frankie, and like Gray Maynard was just a wrestler that would pound your face, right? That was his only, his martial art was wrestling, which is a great one. But these kids now, man, they know all the shit.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different. Our live stream on YouTube, in case you didn't know.
Oh, very nice.
And DJ from the Untrained iPod says, "What's up, fellas?" So, what's up?
What's up, DJ?
DJ. Any MMA questions? Try to throw them. Maybe we'll answer. Maybe we won't. I don't know who 135 is. Ooh, Cejudo? I don't know, man, dude. Cejudo's a tough motherfucker, dude. His improvement from the first time that DJ beat the shit out of him to now, like his other fight with him, and then even after that, like Cejudo seems to have come in his own. That would be hard. I think a hard fight for Frankie.
For sure. I mean, him or Benavidez,
Poor Benavides.
I know.
So close all the time.
He's a bridesmaid like a motherfucker, man.
The gatekeeper, man. Holy shit. He's still
What I'm,
fighting.
what I'm more interested in, and I think it's getting under promoted as fuck because DC's getting all the, DC and Stipe is fucking Showtime and Nate Diaz.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's not getting as much attention.
That would be what I'm putting on every commercial. That's two dudes that are going to be a bloody mess after that fucking fight.
Hopefully, yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. That's the one coming up, was it the 17th?
Yep, August 17th.
Hell yeah.
You got 3 great fights on that card, and that's it. The rest is dog shit. But you got DC Stipe, you got Pettis and Diaz, and you got Yoel Romero and that steroided other freak from, I think he's also from Cuba. That's a dime piece and bodied up as fuck. So you got two genetic freaks right there. And I can never bet against Yoel Romero. Dude, that guy's a fucking phenomenon.
Yeah.
He's built like an action hero, and he's 40.
Oh, he's fucking jacked. I love you. I love you.
I love you, Michael.
Dude, that was some of the funniest shit.
Tell me it wasn't creepy, though.
No,
that voice, I love you, Michael.
No, he's a scary individual, bro. Like, I don't want to hear my name being called. But that was like a funny post-fight interview where he's yelling up to him.
Oh, even Joe Rogan was shitting his pants a little.
So now Cyborg's done, right? They let her go.
She played her cards wrong, man. You can only fuck with the big dog so many times before Dana White's going to pull out his big dick and say, you know what? Hey, let's compare dicks. Mine's bigger. I have more money. Bye-bye. She assassinated Dana's character. And whether she's right or wrong, he's the boss. You're not going to win that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. Well, dippy. This dip break sponsored by Podcoin.
Have you? Did you hear her apology though? What she did?
No, I heard that like she caught him on video, right? She's the one that released the video.
Yes, but you can go to her Twitter feed. Yesterday, she came out and apologized for that video that she leaked, and admitted that her PR people doctored it and edited it to change and make Dana say what she wanted. And this is after Dana said, "You're fired. We're done with you because you lied about that's a lie." And she admitted it. You can go to her Twitter feed now. She's like, "I'm an honest person. I'm going to admit it." You're dumb is what you are. You got a bad team around you. That's
stupid.
the worst decision I've ever heard.
Yeah, well, yeah, what the fuck?
She'll go to Bellator. I mean, Amanda Nunes waxed that ass. It wasn't even close. Her time's passed. She's had too many stalemates because she's obviously hard to work with, or she would have been booked more. I mean, I hate to say that because I don't know her personally, but if a person doesn't fight very much, that shows they're difficult to fucking promote. It's like the Diaz brothers. They gotta be hard as fuck. They don't fight but every 2 or 3 years if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But I still love them sons of bitches. They're my number ones, goddamn.
Diaz, yeah, Cyborg, it's whatever. Like,
not Cyborg.
I don't really care. I mean, but there was nothing for her to fight anyways, right? Nobody was lining up. I mean, Christ, Duranda gave up the belt so that she didn't have to fight Cyborg. Whether it's because she took steroids a long time ago or not, it's like people weren't lining up like, oh shit, let me get that number.
Until Nunes knocked her out, and then everybody's like, shit, I'll take a piece now because that Mike Tyson, demeanor's gone. Because Amanda Nunes damn knocked that shit right out of her face.
Yeah, but Nunes is fucking a beast on her own, dude. She's outclassed everybody.
People call her one of the best women's fighters. Shit, I put her up there as one of the best just fighters. She's an animal.
Oh, I picture her as the number one fighter.
Dude, she's got hands so good.
And she's beat legends.
For sure.
All of them.
Killer.
Ronda, Holly, Misha Tate. Like, she took out everybody.
Cyborg was the biggest, no one's ever going to beat her.
Yeah.
MMA fight. Nunes made quick work. Took Cyborg's best shot and then knocked her ass out, which is, just undeniable.
She's a fucking legend killer.
So the rematch to me never really made a whole lot of sense because for a rematch, I want it to at least be competitive. Like I hate to see them turned around when they're not competitive. Fights that deserve good rematches are like the Conor and Diaz fights, both of them.
Yeah.
Those are people that are made to fight each other. It's going to be good every fucking time. I wish they'd just get this trilogy shit over.
Hell yeah.
Because now I think they're going to bring Conor and give him the winner of Poirier and Khabib. And if it's Khabib, he's going to get murdered again. It just makes no damn sense.
He should not. He should come in if anything. If you need to, not that it's a warm up fight. I don't know. Find somebody that you think stylistically will make a good fight. Don't you know what I mean? And then
A chance to win.
Yeah.
Because if he loses again, his credibility, he's lost 4 out of 5.
Yeah, it's tough. You like his whiskey?
Nah, it's not great.
I don't. It's all right.
Yeah, I mean,
I like to send it out for the retweet.
yeah, it's mid grade. Honestly, I think Jameson's a little better. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, I agree. Did you hear about their promotion they did right after?
No.
They had Holloway go to Ireland to be the spokesperson. Like he was selling Jameson in Ireland.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh shit.
That's the fight to make also that people I think would be a great fight is Holloway Connor 2 because Connor beat a 21-year-old Max Holloway, right? As his last loss. Well, up until he went up and fought and lost recently up a weight class. But if they could do a catch weight or even if they decide to do 155, I would watch that fight. But I just wish the UFC would just suck it the fuck up after Diaz and Showtime fight. Book Nate and Connor to open up the 165 division and crown a fucking early champion. Just let them fight for the first belt. Start the fucking weight class. You can eliminate it right after if you want, but there'll be 750 million buys.
Yeah. Who do you have in that Diaz fight?
Oh, Diaz. All day.
Showtime's looked very good his last fights.
Oh, he has, and he's got confidence. And the difference with him, he had lost his confidence, his swagger for a minute.
Well, I mean, he went on a slide for a little bit. He went from champion to fucking, quick down slide, and then had to rebuild to get back up.
And he quit cutting weight. That makes a big difference. He's fighting basically what he walks around at. And then when he starched Wonder Boy,
that was impressive.
I mean, because Wonder Boy was working him. I mean, Pettis' nose was shattered.
Yeah, no, it was definitely impressive.
One shot, boom. But he's my underrated, Uncle Randy's overrated fighter of the night is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. That fucker's always been overrated to me.
That's fair. It'd be interesting because he's got that same style, kind of like Michael Venom Page. Like, how would it translate if he came over?
But he has no chin. Yeah. Just no one would ever hit him. This is what pisses me off, though. I want to know your thoughts on this because I think the person that's not reaching their potential the most in MMA that drives me nuts is Tyron Woodley.
Facts.
He is so much better, but he quit throwing his hands when he fought like Wonder Boy the first time, and he's never thrown them since. Like it's weird, and he's got that bomb of a right hand.
Yeah.
Frustrates me. Who do you got between DC and Stipe in the rematch?
Stipe.
Ooh, shit, dicks.
Yeah, I think he's coming for broke.
He has been like in the shadows. You haven't heard him doing interviews. No talking shit. He's been like isolated in a basement somewhere. So I can see what you're saying. I think there is going to be a very motivated Stipe.
Well, I think nobody respects him, dude. Like he's not even talked about. He's the number one heavyweight of all time. I mean, granted, like it's 4 wins, but they're monsters that he's beaten to get there.
You're absolutely right. No one can dispute that argument. You're 100% right. He's the greatest heavyweight UFC champ of all time. Defended the most. It's unquestionable. But yeah, he's never picked up the respect that he deserved with the fans for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Is it fans or it's the UFC? I mean, whatever it is, like they should be pitching him all the time. That dude still is a firefighter. He was champion in the world. Like
I would be building around him too. I mean, he's a great ambassador. He doesn't get in trouble. He's
No.
a family man. I mean, for sure, he's easy. But with him and DC, they're both that nice. Like this
Yeah.
could be the most like two patty cake nice guy fight on planet Earth. But I still think DC wins because I think DC beats anyone that's not named John Jones. And that I think changes if they fight a third time because I think John Jones is on the downside. He has not impressed me in 4 fights. He's become a decisionator, goddamn. He's not the John Jones that used to attack and try to end fights. Now he's the decisionator.
Do you think part of it is even if he's not on steroids now or allegedly whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but now, like, if he, I mean, no matter what it is, if he doesn't crush a performance enough or fight up to what one, there's usually long layovers in between these fights. So I think he needs one that needs to fight often to stay lubed up.
Yeah.
But if he puts on like some crazy ass performance, or is everything going to be questioned? Like, oh, he's on roids.
Well, did you saw his last fight with Santos, right? And how that dude that fight was so damn close, and both of his knees were completely obliterated.
Yeah,
Both of them were rebuilt after the fight, like full, every ligament, tendon shot. And so that's one thing. He squeaked that out. It was really close. But I think John Jones, one thing I will give him is he's a fighter that fights up or down to his competition, right? Like if his competition, he needs a DC as much as DC needs him for their legacies. He needs somebody that's going to come in there and push him like Gustafsson did in their first fight to really see his greatness. And that just hurts me because I wish I had a tenth of his athletic ability.
no kidding, huh?
He's a fucking beast. But him and his brother at a raunchy strip club, I don't think John Jones did this shit. I think somebody's trying to make a name, clearly. But make better decisions, goddamn. John Jones, for fuck's sake, get your shit together for a minute.
Yeah, I wish I had half the talent. I'll take a quarter of the talent that family has, but he is definitely one of my favorite fighters, but it is hard to always root for him when it's always like it's like that line in Liar Liar where after Jim Carrey can tell the truth and the guy calls and he hangs up the phone, he's like, "Stop breaking the law, asshole." It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it drives me nuts because I think John Jones is a man that doesn't know who he is, not on a fighter level, on a personal level. He can't decide, do I want to be, because I do think he's a very spiritual guy that has a lot of faith. I really believe that in his family.
Mm-hmm.
Despite his fuckery, there's a lot of religious people that also fuck around. So that's totally okay. He can't decide which one he really is. And so I think he needs to resolve that shit, get his personal life in order, right? And he'll kill everybody for 5-6 more years.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't get it in line, I think one of these young whippersnappers going to give it to him, or maybe DC.
It'd be interesting to see. I think DC can do it.
Yeah, DC's he's getting it long in the tooth. I've been watching his camp and stuff of him getting in shape for Stipe, and you can never go based on his body because DC's like every man, like it's awesome. But golly, boy, he packs on the fat tummy for heavyweights. Gives him that power though.
Yeah, I mean that's what like Roy Nelson did. Same thing.
No shit, big Roy, big country.
But that is pretty much everything. Who was the other fight? What's the third fight that you had said earlier?
Romero.
How's that?
You got Yoel Romero. You got DC, and you got Pettis and Diaz.
Yeah, that's it. Dope. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think Yoel's going to obliterate somebody.
Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you? Thanks for stepping in.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I love this shit, man. I love shooting shit and talking MMA with you. You can reach us at Married as Fuck on Twitter. I think it's Married AF Podcast on the other shits on Instagram and Facebook. But check us out, goddamn.
Hell yeah. And Joe B, any podcast. We'll be live on our OG channel this Wednesday, August 7th. Back on the original shit. We're out of trouble, so look for us there and everywhere else, especially on Podcoin.
Absolutely, goddamn.
Hell yeah, dude. It was a great time, man. Thanks for coming out.
Anytime, brother.
Hell yeah.